Today I'm going to show you how to play the game Minchiate, which is an Italian tarot game that was played in centuries past, closely associated with the city of Florence, but also played in other parts of Italy through history. This game is called Minchiate, or at least that's one name for it. There's a slight problem with that the word Minchiate in Italian, or at least in modern Italian, means something like bullshit. And so people often don't like to use that name. Historically, a lot of people called it Germini or Gallerini, depending whereabouts in Italy you were, partly to avoid saying Minchiate, but also because those were just two other names for the game. Germini apparently is an even older name for the game. If you're not familiar with the Minchiate deck, I highly recommend you go and watch my separate video that I made on it. It'll be linked up in the top right corner there. But just to recap, it's a 97 card tarot deck. It has 40 trumps plus the Fool. Then it has the 4 plain suits, the Latin suits of swords and battens, the long suits which go King, Queen, Knight, Jack, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 from top to bottom, and the 2 round suits, Coins and Cups, which go King, Queen, Knight, Jack, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 from top to bottom. Like a lot of traditional European games, Minchiate was played for money. During card play, you would keep track of points, and as soon as one of the teams is 60 points ahead, there would be a payment, and the team that's 60 points behind would have to pay the agreed upon stake to the team who are 60 points ahead. So this is a zero-sum game, where whatever one side wins, the other side loses. You keep track of how many points one of the teams is leading by. As soon as one team is 60 points ahead, that's one resto, and so that's the payment. Next question though, so how do you actually score points in this game? Minchiate is a point trick game, which means that you win points for the particular cards that you collect in your tricks. So one thing you need to know is how many points each particular card is worth. Here's a map. This is basically all of the trump cards, and Minchiate is unusual in that most of the point cards are actually trumps. This is different to pretty much every other tarot game. The ones that are in blue are worth 3 points. The ones that are in that light pinkish color are worth 5 points. The ones that are in the gold are worth 10 points. You're going to see in a sec why this particular arrangement is what it is. One of the unique characteristics of Minchiate is that you score by collecting certain sets of cards called versicole. And basically you've got two types. You've got regular versicole, which are basically sequences, so you've got certain cards in order, or you might have irregular versicole, which are certain sets. And they work like this. The first regular versicole is just the trumps 1 through 5. Or they call them I papi, which means the popes, because out of these you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 2, 3, 4 are the 3 pope cards in the bottom of the trump sequence. Trump 1 is worth 5 points. Trumps 2, 3, 4, 5 are worth 3 points each. Then you've got the sequence at the top end of the trumps, starting at trump 28. So, again, to have a regular versicola, you need at least 3 in a row, and that can be 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. Each of those is worth 5 points, with the important exception that trump 29 is only worth 5 points if it's part of a versicola. Otherwise, it's not worth any points on its own. Going on from there, the higher trumps, you've got 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40. So the high unnumbered trumps, the star, moon, sun, world, and judgment, they are worth 10 points each. Onto the irregular ones, the first one is the versicola del matto, which means the versicola of the fool, and basically that's having the 1, the 40, and the Fool. If you've played tarot games before, you'll recognize that. It's kind of like a trull bonus, so you've got the bottom trump, the top trump, and the Fool, which together, in a lot of tarot games, make a scoring combination. Then we've got the versicola del tredici, which means the versicola of the 13, and that's the 1, the 13, and the 28. I'm not entirely sure why it's those 3, but look, cool set. You've got the Magician, you've got Death, and then you've got Capricorn. The versicola delle decine means at least 3, or even all 4, of the trumps that are a multiple of 10. So the 10, the 20, the 30, and the 40. Lastly, the versicola dei reggi, and in fact these are the only cards that are worth points that aren't trumps, which is the kings. So basically you need at least 3 of the kings or 4 of the kings, and they are worth 5 points each. As a bonus, the team that has the Fool, il matto, can actually add the Fool for a bonus to each of the other versicole. It'll add an extra 5 points onto any of them, except for the versicola del matto, because that already has the Fool in it. If you're wondering how anyone manages to keep track of all this, these days what we do is generally we use a map, and the map looks like this. So you've got triangles, or I guess you can think of them as 3-pointed stars for each of the cards worth 3 points, a 5-pointed star for each of the cards worth 5 points. 29 is grayed out because the 29 is only worth 5 points in a versicola, not in card points in a trick, and then a 10-pointed star for each of the cards worth 10 points. Easy. Okay, the R stands for re, which in Italian means king, and the M stands for matto, which in Italian means fool. Okay, now that we've talked about the card points and the versicole, let's actually have a look at how this game is played. We're using Tabletop Simulator, where Robert Kovac, who's actually going to be playing the game with me sitting on my right, has set it up. This is a 4-player game played in partnerships. My partner is Eric, who is sitting opposite me. I'm the dealer. Firstly, I'm going to have a good shuffle here. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. See if I manage to not drop cards on the floor, which is usually what happens when I play cards on Tabletop Simulator. I pass the deck over to the player to my left. Roman is going to cut the deck. Then he is going to flip over the section of the deck that he has cut. This is another thing that's very peculiar to the game of Minchiate, is this really complicated dealing procedure. Basically, when he cuts the deck, if that card is above 20, or it's one of the other cards that is worth points, he will take it out and get to keep it. He also immediately scores any points that it's worth. The card he cut was the Fool, so he gets 5 points and puts the Fool in front of him. Then if the next card is also over 20 or a counting card, he gets to keep that too, and so on until you get one that's not worth any points. As it happens, the first 5 cards he's flipped are all worth points or over 20. He's got Trump 23, no points, but it's above 20. Taurus, which is Trump 34, it's worth 5 points. Pope 3, which is worth 3 points, and the King of Battens, which is worth 5 points. So that's 18 points he's already collected, and 5 cards already for his hand. Flips over the cut, and then puts the bottom of the deck on top of the part he was already looking at. I'm now going to deal each of us 21 cards, so 10 to each player, and then 11 to each player. The 11th card from the second batch is dealt face up, so we get to see 1 card of each of ours. Any of them which are a counting card are immediately scored. Rob on the right got the Queen of Battens, no points. Eric opposite me got Trump 11, no points. And Roman on my left got the Knight of Cups, also no points. I got the Five of Coins, also no points. The leftover cards are called the faller, and now I have a chance to rob the faller in the same way that Roman stole cards from it before. I flip over the top card, and if it's above 20, a trump above 20, or it's a counting card, I get to keep it. I flipped it over and it was a 10 of coins, so no points. The dealer still has a chance to go through the rest of the cards in the faller, but I won't be able to get any points for them. But I will be able to pull out any counting cards or the 29 and add them to my hand. The only counting card I've found here is Pope 5, the Lovers, so I'll keep that. All the rest of them I will hand back to my partner. So now we pick up all of our cards, including the turned up 21st card that was dealt to us, and any that we have robbed or taken from the pack. And then we just have to discard the same number of cards, Roman and I, from the ones that we took out of the pack, so that everyone starts with 21 cards, and so that there are 13 cards in the faller, which we pass over to the dealer's partner. The dealer's partner actually sorts the faller into how many cards of each suit. Now, the faller can't contain any counting cards at the end of this whole process. That's kind of the point. All of the counting cards are in someone's hand. So we actually, before the first trick, will know how many of the no point cards will be in the faller. Okay, finally we can play a card. Player to the dealer's right plays to the first trick. Now, before anyone else plays any cards, we all have a chance to announce whether we already have a versicola in our hands. And Eric did not, but Roman, of course, does. And he's got a versicola of 4 of the high trumps, so that's 40 points plus the fool for 45. This puts Roman's team 63 points ahead of myself and Eric. What that means is we've got to pay him arresto. So basically one of us, I would pay Roman and Eric would pay Rob, or whichever. Rob and Roman's team goes back to being 3 points ahead. Okay, so now that the announcements are done and the first card was led, Roman and I will flip over the cards that we discarded. We pass them over to Eric, who can finish sorting them into suits. He tells us how many of each plain suit was in the folder and then passes the folder back to me as the dealer. Okay, now he can finally play, and he plays the Ace of Battens. Roman won that because he had the King of Battens. Roman plays a trump. What do I do? Do I try and beat that? That's trump 26. Do I have a higher one? I'm going to duck that, and I'm going to... What have we got? Actually, no, I will play trump 32, which is Aquarius. Oh, Rob has played trump 40, so this is his trick. And Eric will probably play a trump that's not worth any points so that we don't lose even more. In any trick, if you play a counting card, a point card to a trick, and it does not win, or the other team wins it, they actually score the points for that straight away. They kill it. Now, Rob has played trump 1, basically because he knows that Roman will be able to play a very high trump on top of it and save it, because that's going to be worth some points for some versicole for their team at the end of the game. Okay, so we all follow with some trumps, because we have to follow suit. And you can see Roman has won that, because he's got the star there. Gathers them up. He's won that one as well. Put it on his trick pile. So he leads another trump. Okay, what am I going to play? Let me have a look. So that's trump 23. That's air. I'm going to play a trump. Okay, I'm going to beat it by playing a higher trump. Rob follows suit with trump 11, and then Eric takes the trick with trump 35. So yay, we won a trick finally. Okay, because Eric won the last trick, he leads this trick. He leads the 3 of Battens. Roman doesn't have any Battens left. If you can't follow suit, you must trump. He plays Pope 3. Both Rob and I then follow suit with a clubs card, a Battens card, sorry, that isn't worth any points. Roman then leads the King of Cups to the next trick. I have to follow suit. I'll play the 3 of Cups. Rob plays the 7 of Cups. And Eric plays the 10 of Cups. Roman's therefore won that trick with the king, puts the cards together, puts it in his trick pile, leads to the next trick. Roman leads the 9 of Cups. I can beat that, I've got the Queen of Cups, so I play the Queen. Rob plays the 6 of Cups, and Eric plays the 1 of Cups. Okay, so that one's mine. Okay, so I get to lead to the next trick. I lead the Queen of Coins. He plays the king onto it. Eric plays the 7 of coins, so that means Rob's winning this trick. Roman therefore played the Fool. The Fool's a very useful card. It means you don't have to follow suit. You can play it, and then you actually get to keep it. That means he didn't waste, a trump, which might have happened otherwise, or a coin that he didn't want to play. Rob then leads the Maid of Cups, or the Jack of Cups. Eric does not have any cups, so he is going to trump it. Very good. So that trick is ours. Roman has to follow suit with cups, plays the 8 of cups. So that trick is ours. So I'm going to save some points. I'm going to play Pope 5, so the trump card number 5, and that means that that is safely in our trick pile. Eric leads the 10 of Battens. Roman trumps it because he doesn't have any Battens left. I have to play the Jack of Battens, and Rob plays the Queen of Battens. So Roman wins that trick, adds it to his pile, leads to the next one. Roman leads a trump. This means we all have to follow suit with trumps. I'll throw in the Haggard Man because he's not worth any points. Rob then follows suit with Death, with trump 13, because Death is worth points. So it's a good thing to get it home into your team's trick pile. Eric has to follow suit with a trump, unfortunately has to play trump 30, which is worth 5 points, and Roman gets to score those 5 points straight away. Roman leads with another high trump. We all have to follow suit with trumps. Roman wins that trick into his trick pile. Roman leads another high trump. He knows that at this point he can keep leading trumps and force us to play ours and maybe catch some of these ones that count for points, like what just happened then. Capricorn is worth 5 points. Now, because he captured it from us in a trick, he gets the 5 points and can add it onto his score tracker right now. He won the trick, puts the cards in his trick pile. More of the same, he leads a high trump. Unfortunately, I've only got one trump left, and it's a counting card. It's the 10. And then Eric also appears to only have counting ones left. So Roman has just caught 2 5-point cards from us, and he scores both of them straight away. It's not going well for us. I think we're going to lose pretty badly here. Okay, Roman gathers in the cards. Roman leads another trump. I can't follow. I don't have any more trumps, so I throw a card with no points. Eric's also out. Rob had trump still, and he's won this trick, so he adds it to his team's trick pile. And then what's Rob going to lead now? Rob leads the 4 of coins. Eric follows with the 1 of coins. Roman trumps it. I throw the 8 of coins on. So Roman's going to lead to the next one. He leads the 2 of cups. I don't have any cups, so I'm going to throw the Knight of coins onto it. Or am I? Yes. Rob follows with the 5 of cups. Eric throws the 4 of swords onto it. Okay, Roman leads the Knight of cups. I chuck a coin on it that's not worth any points. Boy, Rob's still got a trump, so he played Aries and he wins that. Whoop, flip it up, back the right way. Plays the Jack of swords. I make a mistake here. There's a rule that the first time a suit is led, if it gets trumped and a player after it has the king of that suit, they're forced to play it, which means I should have played the king of swords on that trick that Roman trumped, and he should have got an extra 5 points for catching it from me. Okay, now to the end of hand scoring, where you get all the points for the cards that you collected and the versicoli that you collected in your tricks. We're going to lay out the cards that Eric and I took, and we're going to use that to work out what Roman and Rob have. Now on this scoring slate here, in hand scoring, so Roman and Rob had 31, so let's put that first. Then they get 10 points for winning the last trick. They get 19 points for the versicola de papi, so having a versicola between 1 and 5, or actually they have 1 to 4. Then 85 points for the versicola of the high cards, of the arie. 20 points for the versicola of the full. Another 20 points for the versicola of the 13. 30 points for the versicola of 10s. 25 points for the versicola of the kings, because they had all 4 kings and the fool. And then 129 card points. At least we got some there, we had 13. Then he gets 30 points for having 15 more tricks than we did. Basically, however many more tricks than the other team you have, you get 2 points for each of them. Add all that up, they get 399 points, whereas Eric and I only had 13. That puts them 386 points ahead. Now, if you divide that by 60, you get 6 and a bit. That means Eric and I have to pay Roman and Rob 7 resti, because you round up. If it's 6 point something, you're going to round it up to 7. This is an unusually massive win. Most games, it's more like 2 or 3 resti being paid from the losers to the winners. Once all that's done, you pass the deck to the player on your right, and they deal the next hand, and off you go. Traditionally, you would play 4 hands, so each of you would get to deal once. You call that one girata, like one rotation, basically it means in English. Then after that, you change partners. With your new partner, then you would again play 4 hands, so everyone around the table gets to deal once, and then you change partners again, and then with the third player, again you play another 4 hands. So the whole game was 12 hands long, and you get to play 4 hands with each of the other 3 as a partner. This whole sequence was called one girone. Okay, thanks for watching the video. If you want to hang out with other people like me who are traditional card game nerds, maybe play some Minchiate on Tabletop Simulator or any other card game online, join our Discord. If you email me on learntarotcardgames@gmail.com, I will send you a link. Also check out pagat.com. As always, this is the place to go for the rules to basically every traditional card game that has ever existed. In the meantime, have fun. Thanks again to Rob Kovac for his work on Tabletop Simulator, setting it up, and also on his cheat sheet and his scoring sheet. See you next time.